Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with another commissioned video. This one from Dr. Venkman, and it is all about the Ghostbusters. Is it really that good? Ghostbusters Get Real. This is the meeting between the real Ghostbusters and the real Ghostbusters. You know, the real Ghostbusters that we saw in the movie, and then the cartoon version of it. I guess they are different people. And while my Ghostbuster comic book reading is kind of limited, I got to admit some of the stuff I've read has been pretty good. Even stuff that has involved the 2016 version of the Ghostbusters, which we all know that movie blew chunks. But still, they're decent in the comic books. Got to give credit where credit is due. So we're going into this with open eyes and open mind, and fingers crossed that this will be as good as the movie, or maybe the cartoon, or even Ghostbusters 2. Now, once again, this was a commissioned video by Dr. Venkman. Thank you very much, sir. And if you want to commission a video, go on over to Ko-Fi. The link is in the description below. Just pick any topic, Bad Comic Beatdown, Really That Bad, or any of the others, and pick your subject that you want us to talk about, and I'll get that video done as quickly as possible. Now, while I do appreciate the fact that there are people who are picking commissioned videos and such, unfortunately, I cannot appreciate the reason why. You see, YouTube has decided to bury this channel, and it's just gotten worse and worse. No matter what I've tried, I've tried a lot of stuff, different videos, published 2 a day. Unfortunately, it does look like they are strangling the life out of I Love Comics, so I've created Old Man Comics. So if you could go on over there, the link is in the description below, and just click subscription and ring that notification bell. Make sure your notifications are on. That would be awesome, because as soon as that hits 1,000, everything's going on over there. So anyway, like, thank everybody who's already done that. And with all that said, let's get this party started. All right, as usual, we're going to start off by looking at the comic book cover, and I got to say it's sort of dull, and I think it's the beige. Look, I know what they're going for. On the bottom, it says VHS, Hi-Fi. They're going for an old VHS copy, like when both Ghostbusters and Real Ghostbusters came out. That's fine. It's kind of clever. I like the 1984 Columbia Pictures Television Inc. thing going on. Unfortunately, it's that drab beige. It just kind of brings everything down, especially considering the bad guy is the same color as the cover and sort of blends into everything. Written by Eric Burnham with art by Dan Schoening. I think I said that right. I probably haven't, but let's get moving anyway. Then we sort of get a roll call and who's going to be in the comic, and it just shows us which side which person is going to be on. This is the real Ghostbuster. This is the real Ghostbuster. And at the end, of course, you got Proteus, the bad guy. The next part is kind of weird to me because I never actually watched the real Ghostbusters, and it seems like this might be something that a lot of people who did would understand a little more, because the Ghostbusters mascot here is saying, hey, something malevolent has come to town, and like Gozer, it's been drawing ghosts out of the woodwork like crazy. But what could it be? There's only one way to find out. We now return to the real Ghostbusters. Chapter 1, A Protean Escape. So the book starts off, and we do actually find out, yes, there's ghosts attacking everything. One ghost is attacking a black woman, and the Ghostbusters jump in. They actually trap the ghost, and the old lady's like, hey, okay, I owe you a favor. Now, of course, they're a little pissed off, or at least Venkman is, because he didn't charge them. And when they come across a statue of Atlas, who throws his globe at them, crushing the car, and begins to attack him. And that's where the old lady steps in and goes, well, I can help him. And she transports them away before he could do any damage. And that's when we actually do find that this is the embodiment of Atlas himself, and he's trying to find the Ghostbusters. We're going to get to the reasons why in a little bit, but they're transported to the firehouse. Of course, they find out it's not their firehouse. It's the real Ghostbusters, not the real Ghostbusters. That's going to get, let's say, cartoon versus movie, I guess. Anyway, yeah, they even try to trap Slimer when it turns out not to be the happy-go-lucky Slimer of the cartoon world. So from here on in, though, between the movie and the cartoon Ghostbusters and Atlas the Ghost and another little goddess that he conjures up, it's all exposition. Everything that happens in this book happens in the first few pages. After that, this is a complete conversation about Where did the Ghostbusters go? Wait a second, we're in your universe now. What are we going to do, and how are we going to get home? So this is really just kind of a world-building issue, a who's who kind of thing. It's fun. The dialogue is okay. It's jaunty, but there were also entire pages you could skip and still get the entire story. So as much as I would love to say, yes, this is an awesomenating book for the first issue, there really just needed a little bit more happening. However, we do get the promise of action in the second issue as Janine hands him a piece of paper and says, well, you got an assignment, go. Although, to be fair, she probably didn't say it like Gilbert Gottfried. Alrighty, Chapter 2, they're all real now. Before we get going here, I got to make a correction. In the first part, I mentioned it was Atlas. It's actually an elder god named Proteus who took the form of Atlas. It says so in the recap page for this issue, so I feel I've got to be honest about it. Issue 2, on the other hand, I've got to give praise to. The pacing on issue number 1 just wasn't right. It was too front-loaded with action, and then the last half is all exposition. This, however, you do get action along with characterization. You get a lot of story with it. It opens up even in another dimension. So we do get the whole multiverse thing. We've seen it in Marvel. We've seen it in DC, and now we've got it as far as the Ghostbusters are concerned. The Proteus decides he doesn't want to spend eternity looking for the Ghostbusters going from one dimension to the other, so he decides to send his Hellhound. At the same time, we're still getting discussions on, okay, what do we do to get everybody back home, that kind of thing from the Real Ghostbusters and the movie Ghostbusters. So that's still there. It's still an interesting storyline. I mean, I'm still having fun with this. The interactions, the fact that the Venkmans are irritating each other and everybody around them is something. Ray, no matter what incarnation, seems to be the easiest to get possessed and the most likely to believe in the fantastic. So far, this issue really has kind of pumped up the miniseries as well. I was kind of iffy on the first issue. This one's bringing it back. I'm interested in finding out what's going on. It leaves on a cliffhanger, but it's not exactly an exciting one. It's not one that's going to go, oh my gosh, I've got to check this next issue out. It's just like, okay, I knew this was going to happen eventually, and it looks like now we're getting down to it. Part 3, The Hound of the Busters. This chapter gets a little weird. They're exploring different dimensions, which I don't quite understand why they have to put Ray in some sort of outfit to do that, into this uniform, because they already know that it was safe because you have one group of Ghostbusters already traveling into another dimension. So I kind of felt that was weird, but well, there you go. That's what they're doing. Maybe because they're just trying to get the information from the suit itself. Anyway, you have Ray running into the Slimer from the Real Ghostbusters, and he ends up getting slimed. Not very happy about that. He comes back covered in the goop and so forth and so on. Okay, a little comic relief never hurt anyone. We do get to see the Cerebus attacking another group of Ghostbusters as well that do not resemble the either set that we're used to, which that's interesting. I'm willing to explore that kind of thing. We do get a visit from what looks like one of the Witches of Destiny or whatever they're called. But that's kind of kooky. In the end, I really do like this one. It's starting to elevate. The tension's getting a little higher. And finally, when the Cerebus does show up and they do battle with it, it's really cool to watch the fact that Burnham's really good at balancing action and character at the same time. And having character come out during the action, I think, is very important to a good comic book. Having said that, yeah, there's always a negative, or at least, sometimes there's a negative. In this case, the dialogue is not changed from issue to issue. It's always about getting them back home, but it really does seem like it's on repeat. We've been here. We've done that. It's time to move forward. Sure, talk about getting them home, but what's the next aspect of it? It really does seem like they're starting at zero with every issue, and it feels almost false. Yeah, once again, though, we are left with a cliffhanger, just the same as the Cerebus showed up at the end of the last issue. At the end of this issue, as everything's wrapping up, we get a ha-ha, I am Proteus, and I am here to whip your butt. Chapter 4, and all is. So here we go. We've got the final battle with Proteus, who really just wants to take out the Ghostbusters because they catch ghosts. That's it. And he doesn't want to be caught. But caught he does get. And the whole thing is when he's caught, he has to show the future. He can't tell the future. He doesn't know that. Well, I mean, he doesn't know the future, but he shows the future whenever he's caught. So that was kind of a weird thing to describe and explain. But they do. And once again, we're getting a lot of good dialogue, a lot of good character during the action, through the action. Everybody acts and reacts the way they would in their cartoon or movie version of themselves. And once again, I've got to compliment Burnham for writing the characters like that. The art, though, is, and I haven't talked about that so much. The art on the real Ghostbusters, by that I mean the movie Ghostbusters, kind of looks wonky. I don't know. It all sort of does. I understand the cartoon Ghostbusters being a little bit, I don't know, the stylized, I guess would be a decent word, but it just looks a little, I've always thought the art on these books look a little wonky anyway, but that's just me. If you like it, if you're used to it, I understand it's not going to be as much of a problem. Overall, I did enjoy this book. It's very fast-paced, a lot of action. It's entertaining, and it was a decent way to end the issue. I have to admit, I had to go over twice to finally figure out exactly how they defeated Proteus, because it was this way where it's like, okay, he's doing well, and now he's not. He's in the mirror dimension. Wait, how did he get there again? What's going on here? But that's just me. You know, I'm pretty sure some people read it through the first time and was like, hey, this is what happened. Sometimes it happens. What can you say? Sometimes you just don't get it on the first try. But overall, as far as finales to miniseries go, it's pretty darn good. I got to say, it was a lot of fun. And it kind of makes you want to go to the annual that they advertised at the very end of the book with this dude holding the hourglass and looking all evil and such. So here's the real question, though, as it was asked. Is Get Real Ghostbusters really that good? Well, yeah, actually it is. It's not great, but it is good. It's not going to change any minds. If you don't like the Ghostbusters, this isn't going to drag you in. However, if you do, you're going to have tons of fun with it. And if you're a fan of the movies itself, it does serve that as well as the fans of the cartoon. That being said, I've been a fan of the comic books, and I enjoyed it. I'm not a big fan of the art, but I think Burnham can write a decent story. I haven't read all of the Ghostbuster comics, and this one was new to me, so this was the first time I checked it out as well. But I'm actually kind of happy I did. Anyway, there you go. Is it really that good? Yeah, I would probably give it a 4-star rating. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Have you read the Ghostbusters Get Real story? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to click like, share, subscribe. If you do think this is a good video, make sure you're ringing that notification bell as well. That's what YouTube really cares about when they care at all. Now, if you want to commission your own video, go on over to Ko-Fi. The link's in the description below, and pick a topic, pick a subject, and we'll get that video out to you ASAP. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.